Just stop sharing sound. Welcome, welcome to another Asset Management Monday. Hi, Bobby.
Hi,
Hi,
Bibi.
Nick. How are you? Hi, Randy. Michael, Ken. Nick, where are you located again? You might be muted. And Randy, where are you calling in from?
I'm from Illinois.
You're from Illinois. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Windy Chicago. How about you,
Yeah.
Randy?
I am in Fort Worth.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, where we have an asset there. What's the weather like in Illinois, Nick? Do you finally have spring?
Something like that. It was about 80 degrees earlier, and now it's 60 degrees and rainy.
Yep, it sounds like Massachusetts, right, Pavi? Like one minute it's summer, next minute it's winter, but it's really spring, and then it's raining.
They say if you
Right.
don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
I like that. I like
Yeah, I don't
that.
know if it's
Awesome.
quite as bad here.
Yep, we're kind of all over the place here in Massachusetts. I
Yeah.
think it's 5 past the hour. It's a good time for us to start. Um, so I'll keep letting people into uh the room. Oh, I can't see everyone. Hold on 1 second. I don't see Bibi yet. Okay. So, is there anyone that's joining us for the first time? Ken, I think I've seen you. Michael Porter, is this your first time? Oh, wait, is Bibi? Oh, it is? Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Where are you calling in from? You can type it in the chat. And then let me get our slides for the purpose of for the purpose of Michael, who this is his first time here. Let's admit some more people. Trying to multitask here. Alrighty. So if you're here for the first time, this is the Multifamily Freedom Chasers Asset Management Zoom series, and I think my screen has frozen, possibly. But we hold this asset management piece every other Monday. So thank you for coming, whether it was intentional or you were invited. We're happy to have you. The Multifamily Freedom Chasers it's an online ecosystem. It's a group of people. We believe in pursuing this financial freedom journey, whether we're 9 to 5ers or not. And so we have a lot of enriching and programming that takes place throughout the week. On Mondays that we don't hold asset management Zooms, we have a celebrity Zoom series that goes on. And then we have broker calls, broker relations, and basic, napkin underwriting. And then we get a feel of the debt market. And that happens every other Wednesday as well. And then I know a few people have signed up or are part, or we're part of what we have known as the Fast Pass program. You know what? Let me stop sharing for a bit before I actually go into the Freedom Chasers. There we go. Before I go into that, I do have a semi-announcement to make. Let me keep admitting people in. I do want to show you guys another opportunity that came our way through one of our speakers that we've invited people here before. And so for those of us who might be interested in further ramping up your asset management skills, there is an opportunity to do so. Let me pull it up. And I don't know if you guys remember, we had on our Zoom previously, Cindy and Andrew. They came a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. They are the Yin Yang Asset Management team, and they have an asset management course that they teach in. And at the time, I think the course was, wrapping up and they were about to start another one. But here we are. We have another one starting again. This one starts in June. It runs for 12 weeks, and she sent it to me to share with us. If anyone again in this within our Zoom series is interested, that's the contact information. Hopefully everybody can see it on there. I can also post it later in the WhatsApp group. If you guys aren't part of our WhatsApp group, let me know and I'll send you the link to join. But these are the things that they cover, which is what we cover as well here. What Bibi and I do is by no means a mastermind. That we're not, attempting to do that. But we are, showing you every single thing that we do that's part of, what asset management is. And so Cindy and Andrew will probably offer, more dedicated one-on-one time with homework assignments, that sort of thing, in guiding you to becoming amazing asset managers. So I'll put all of that in the chat later. All right, let me just try and find oh, there she is. Okay. Hold on a second. Co-host. I did not see you there. Oh, there we go. All right. And I just need to pull up my slides again. That it crashed. All right, as I'm trying to pull up my slides, I'll just keep blah blahing because I know what goes on. This is really for those of you guys that are new and are not familiar with the way the cadence of what we do here. So again, this runs on Mondays. It's run by Bibi and I every other Monday. I'm based in Massachusetts. Bibi's based in Texas. She does this full time. I do this pseudo full time, but with a W-2 on the side. This particular session, we're going to be talking again about property management. We're going to be doing a different spin on it because last week we talked about the, property management's involvement with our business plan. Anyway, back to Bibi and I. This is Bibi, this is me. We're both moms, and she has a quite impressive track record. And if any of you are willing or would like to get in touch with us, that's our contact information, my Instagram, email, her email, and then I'll drop this Linktree link during the presentation. So last week, what we looked at was we went over the importance of involving a property management company with our business plan, why, when, what the role is, what's a business plan, what does a good business plan look like, who prepares the budget, what's your role in the budget preparation, what's the property manager's role in the preparation of the budget. Okay, so that was kind of like last week. And for anyone that might be new here, if this is your first time, then you may not know, but all these Zooms are recorded and they are posted to our YouTube channel for free. They're also put on Spotify, so you don't need a subscription or anything. All right. So one thing that you're thinking of, acquiring an asset, obviously, which is why we're all here. And one big question that you have to, think about, especially at the point of your underwriting, is who's going to manage it? You, or are you going to get a property management company? So there are things to think about in whether you're going to do this. Remember, can't do this job solo. You need a team. So some, limiting beliefs that, or questions that you may encounter is, I don't know if I can do this on my own. I don't have any experience. I don't live in the town or in the state. Like I live in Massachusetts and none of the assets I own are in Massachusetts. You may be intimidated by the size of the asset. Do you want to be in the landlording business or do you want to own a business? Those are things to think about in deciding whether you want to go ahead and do this by yourself or do you want to get property management involved. All right, so say you decide we're going to get property management involved. I live in Massachusetts. The asset is, in Fort Worth, where someone said she lived. What do we do? How do I find a property management company? Well, clearly, it's not someone here in it's not a property management company in Massachusetts that's going to manage a property in Texas. So how do we handle this? How do you source for a property management company? So at this point, throw your ideas, thoughts in the chat. Those of you who've either done it, you're thinking of doing it, no answer is silly. How would you find a property management company? Especially if you're remote, but it really doesn't matter. You could be remote or you could be doing it in your backyard and you choose not to self-manage. And in the chat. Oh, okay. Hey, Michael, you're from California. All right. So Pavi says, ask brokers for referrals.
Referrals, yeah.
Yeah, referrals, recommendations. That's what Randy says. That's a great idea. No, that's a great idea.
I think we gave you guys heads up last week.
No
All
one needs to
right.
be paying attention.
You're paying attention. Good job.
Exactly.
Good job, Pavi. All right. So hopefully the intent by the end of this session is we should be able to walk away from this session with at least a list of questions to ask when screening a property management company. It's not, you're not going to just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or, close your eyes, open a book, and then, the first one that you pick. And then if you do find one, you go through the interview process. How do you know that that's a good property manager? What are qualities? You should be able to identify the qualities of a good property manager and understand how to manage this manager. And then recognize early, what warning signs or red flags there are that signal that it's time to transition to another property management company. Okay. So, Bibi, do you want me to share the screen or because the next thing we want to go over is what questions to ask when interviewing?
Yes, you shared that one, but not now. I just want to lay a foundation first. Hello, everyone. It's good to have us here again. We are not so many today, but hopefully people will listen to the recording. So today we are discussing property management, the key to unlocking success. The major reason why we are concentrating more on property management is because it's the most important recruitment as an asset manager or as an investor. If you get that part of your business wrong, then every other thing, I can bet you will not work out. Because these are the guys that help you run the day-to-day activities of the property. Because the idea is for you to scale and for you to do other multifamily because you don't need to spend so much time managing a property when you can have them run it for you and you go get another one and continue the process all over again. So property management is the most important recruitment. And the beautiful part of it is that if you are a deal finder and underwriter, you should have them as your friend because they are the ones that will help you with your acquisition. And let me tell you why. It's very wrong for you to bring in a property manager when you are at the verge of closing a deal. The reason is because these property managers have local experience of that market. They know things because they run similar properties in that market. They know things that might happen because they normally do a steady, a constant market survey. This is something they do because it helps them to push rent. So they conduct this even without you, not because of you. They are doing it because of other businesses that they're running. So when you have them and have their perspective at the beginning, it just helps your deal a lot better. They will tell you if that deal will work out or not. Some of us are familiar with brokers telling us that this deal will give you 7 cap, will give you 8% average cash on cash. We all know that brokers are not the best person they're not the best people to get your to get a reliable answer from or reliable idea form. So why do I think that property management company are the best people you should get your answers from? Is because one, if they give you the wrong answers and they're the ones managing it, then they'll be faced with a problem. Nobody wants to carry a property with liability. They, as much as possible, want to limit it. So this is the reason why they are very key to your success. So how do we get them? Because that's another challenging thing. The last time we spoke, we said mainly from referrals, and there are other ways you can go on the internet and get them. But truth be told, there are many property managers out there that are well schooled. They know what to say. They have the right words. They can tell you anything they want to say, but when you put them on the job, it's just disaster. So how do we pick out the good ones from the bad ones? The point is, we really don't know until you get them on the job. That's the truth. Because they can, there's some people, I remember back then in school, there's some people that are very, very good. They can tell you things, but put them in action, they don't know how to do it. It's something similar. So we just need to be careful, double careful when we are dealing with recruiting or getting a property manager. So what are the questions that we need to ask when interviewing a property manager? So we've listed out some questions. It's not limited to this, but these are the standard or the fundamental questions that you should go through with your, yes, these are the standard or questions you should go through with your property manager. Why are you doing this? Why is this process very important? Because one, you want to even save yourself the stress of issues, because any point in time you have a property manager on your property, you are one, losing money, you're losing time, you're not going to execute your business plan, and the deal might fail. Because a deal has a plan, like you have a time to get out of the deal or the time to refinance or the time to sell, any time lost it can affect the end result. So as much as possible, you want to do this right at the beginning. But this does not mean that you cannot afford to change them while on the deal and all that. So these are things we'll also discuss later on in this session. Sample questions to ask when interviewing a property management company. How long have you been in the business in this area? The reason why this question is important, because the more local that they are, the more they understand the market. Like you using a property manager in Dallas to run a property in Pennsylvania might just be a disaster. For example, last week we wanted to purchase. We're looking at sending an LOI for a property in a secondary market in Texas. And we called a property manager, and the property manager said it was based in, can you remember, Wisconsin or something, where?
Hold on, I think can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, are you talking about the one that the Texarkana one?
Yes, yes. So the property,
I don't think it was Wisconsin, but I think they had there were one of these people there were one of these firms that had they were coming across to say they have this nationwide, almost a nationwide reach, and so he was absolutely nowhere near the assets, but
yeah,
coming across as if he was in the know of
yeah,
everything to do with the property. Exactly.
So you want to avoid all these nationwide property managers, and the reason is because they are master of they are in every market, but they are master of none. They tend not to understand the local market. So you're looking for a property manager that is local, that understands the market, and when things are changing, is going to take the right decision. So we asked him some questions, and he was like, I can't say for sure. I can't say this. So we had to even end the interview. I was so pissed. I just said, thank you for your time and have a wonderful day. So you want to avoid nationwide kind of property management company. What is the next question is, what is the size of the property you manage? The reason why you want to ask this is because some of them are specialized in some number of assets. Some of them might be very truthful with you when having that conversation that they don't manage properties above 50. I've had that conversation when I was in search of a property manager in Oklahoma, and the property management company said, oh, sorry, we typically do not handle any property above 50. So you want to ask that question, what property do you manage or what size? And because you need to know their capacity. If they don't have the capacity to run the property, then there's a problem. Properties that are below 50 have a different business plan. Properties that are above 50 have another business plan. Properties that are above 50 typically do not need a stay-in property manager. The ones that are modern need a stay-in manager. So the capacity for both is different. So you want to be sure that the size, they manage properties of similar size as the one you want to purchase. What's your management fee? Like what I said, properties that are below 50, the way they charge for their management fee is different from properties that are both above 50, the way they charge for their management fee. So smaller properties charge between 8 to 12%. While the bigger ones charge between 5 to 3%. And the reason is because of the business, the way you run it. Smaller properties do not have the ability to produce the income that can pay for a stay-in maintenance or a payroll people. Who are the payroll people? The property manager, the maintenance people, the leasing officer. Properties like that, it does not produce enough income to have those people on ground. So that is why a property manager that specializes in the smaller units might not be able to manage a bigger one. Whereas the bigger one, the property produces enough income, can produce enough income to take care of those expenses. So smaller properties typically are between 8 to 12%, while the bigger ones are between 3 to 5%. So you want to be sure and do your underwriting properly. What is the process of handling repairs? So for the boats, there are different processes of handling and repair. The smaller ones, it's on a case-by-case basis. When there's an issue, they will send in someone, and there's something they normally do not disclose. You need to ask when you're interviewing them, what is your hidden charges? There are some hidden costs that they will not unveil to you when you are recruiting them, but when you take them up, you start seeing those things manifest. So there are different types of costs that comes in as hidden costs. Costs for bringing down a technical person, like a maintenance person to come and fix something on a smaller property. So when a property management company, when you call, okay, let me back up a little. For a smaller unit, when there's a repair or an order from a tenant, the property management company will call in, let's say it's an electrical issue, we'll call an electrical third-party vendor to come down. The third-party vendor comes down and it gets paid from your income, which is okay. But the property manager takes charges on any vendor that they bring on ground. So you need to ask them, how do you go about repairs? What charges or commission do you take if you have to bring someone to do the repairs? Very important. This can affect your underwriting. These are for smaller properties. Whereas the bigger ones, since their payroll team are on staff, they handle most of the repairs, except the ones that need technical people specialists to do them. Things like HVAC, maybe roof damage, and HVAC, and boilers and all that. That's when they now contact the specialists to come and do them. But things like electrical, plumbing, just those normal regular repairs, they kind of engage the payroll team. So there are different business plans, like I earlier stated. How do you collect rent? So you need to ask them, how do you collect rent? Do you have, okay. So for a smaller company, a smaller property management company, they collect your rent and put them all in one account. So invariably, if they have 10 customers like you, they're going to put everybody's money in one account. Likely, that is the typical thing that they do. They do not randomly go and open separate accounts for those properties because they are very small. So, but for the bigger ones, they typically open separate accounts for those properties. So you need to ask them, how do you collect rent? Are you going to combine mine with all of your customers? At that point, you can start negotiating. Let's say you have a larger portfolio, like maybe 40 units, single family, or 30 of them. You can request that. Will you be open to having a different bank account for me so that my rent will go in? I do not want to merge my money with that of other of your clients. This is for smaller properties, but for the bigger ones, you also have to ask the question, how do you collect rent? They also need to create an account that you have access to, not for you to withdraw money from it, but for you to oversee what is going on, for you to have access to it, to pull out reports for your lender, for anybody. Maybe you need to do stuff, so you need to know what is in the account to take some decisions. You need to have access to your account. Please don't go there and start withdrawing money. That is not the idea of the entire thing. So how do you handle funds? You also need to ask them, where do you put my CapEx funds? Where do you put my operational funds? Where do you put my escrow funds? If they are the ones taking your escrow amount for you or paying your mortgage for, you need to ask them, how many accounts are you opening? How are you going to manage them? These are conversations you need to have before, not when you're already in the deal. I made that mistake on my first deal. I didn't ask all these questions. I went into the deal with the agreement. They told me 8%, and I thought that was it. I didn't know that there were other things added. It was when we signed the document, the next day coming up with all the hidden charges, and I couldn't back out. So these are things you want to avoid and have that conversation. They say experience is the best teacher. We don't want you to have this experience. That's why we are having this webinar or this Zoom call for everyone to learn. Can you please?
Sure, I don't know if it's coming up. Let me see, hold on. Okay, so it's not coming up, so let me go back.
No, this is it, yes, right here. So the next one is, you need to ask them their management policy for eviction and lease violation. The reason for this is you don't want to have a property management company that will take time to evict people when they are owing. Because when you have a tenant that is owing for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and your property management is not expediting the process on time, you have a lot of delinquencies. You want to avoid that. So you need to ask them, what's your policy for eviction, so that you can take your decision on time. Like for us on one of our properties, on our properties, once it's 500, a tenant is owing like maybe one month, or before that, before the 10th of each month, they take you to court. So these are the conversations that we have. If you've not paid between the 1st and the 10th of the month, they'll take you to court. So you need to know their management policy for eviction and lease violation. How many evictions have you handled? You also need to know that, because there's an expertise in they need an expertise experience to do this, because they have to go to court, they have to talk to the judge, or maybe they have a broker that handles this. You need to find out what this is and what is the cost. Why you need to know the cost is for you to do your underwriting properly. So it's important that you know this. What is the expected vacancy rate and delinquency in the area? You also want to know this because it's possible that the property you're purchasing has management issues. So maybe that's why the vacancy is high. So, but you're asking the property manager, what is the expected vacancy rate in that market? And the reason why you're asking for the market is for you to also be able to do your projections, right? And create your business plan. So for example, if the market is performing at 5% vacancy and the property you're buying is at 80% vacancy. So you already know that because the market is at 5% vacancy, you can give the property manager or management company a criteria that they must get to 5% because the market is doing it. And you also want to test their knowledge with it, because when you're asking them and they do not know it, then you should already have the sign that they're not doing their job. They don't know the local market. So that might be a sign for you to just take a walk. What reports do you provide? Because as an asset manager or an investor, you are reporting to your property, you're reporting to your investors, your limited partners, even reporting to yourself or your GP partners. You need to ask them the kind of reports they'll be producing. Don't forget, they're the ones managing the day-to-day activities. They are the ones running the property management software. They are the ones running it. So you need to ask them, what reports are they going to prepare for you? For us, we even put it as a responsibility for our property manager to present reports to us on all aspects of the business. That is from occupancy to delinquency, to traffic, to CapEx, to to prepayment, all aspects of it. We do it based on our KPIs. So through the KPIs we set, that is the type of report we'll be requesting for. So you need to ask them the kind of reports that they give out. If they are not saying exactly what you really want to hear or say, then that might be another cue for you to know that they don't know anything. They should be able to tell you these different types of reports that they can produce depending on the property. Then you also, when all these things you've done them, everything looks good. Maybe you've spoken to them, you found out that they pound out in all the aspects. There's a check mark on everything. The next thing for you to do is to ask them to produce their contract and agreement. The reason why you need to go through their contract and agreement, a contract agreement, is because there are some hidden clauses that you need to quickly negotiate before you go into the deal. So there are things like when you are terminating a contract, some of them might tell you that you need to pay them 3 months or 90 days, management fee, or 60 days management fee and all that. So you need to check exactly what their contract states about that. So we saw that in one of our deals and we quickly addressed it. And we told them, we are not paying you anything. The moment we terminate your contract, based on this contract, you have, let's say you have 30 days to go. Once that 30 days elapsed, that's when your money stops. So you need to check what the contract says and align it to what, tailor it to what suits you. Both of you can come to a compromise at that point. And again, I forgot to mention, the lender is also going to look at your contract and agreement. So whatever conversation you've had with the property manager, fine. The lender is also going to take a look at it and also give you some advice. Not give they're not going to give you an advice. They're going to insist that you put these clauses in it, because as much as possible, they also want to protect themselves. Don't forget, the lenders are major stakeholders of the deal. So they also want to do things to protect themselves. Then the next one is review references and visit their properties. You really want to do this, because for someone that is telling you, I can deliver, I can do this, I can do that, and you go to their property and their property is messed up, then that tells you that these people are not good. Another way you can go about this is go online, ask them for their properties, go online and see the review. You have to be very careful with how you assess the review online, because sometimes some tenants just want to make a property management company look bad. They might not be that bad, but you just have to read between the lines and be sure of those reviews. If it's becoming so common among everybody, then you might need to really watch it. And if possible, ask them questions. Another thing we get to do is we can even give them a random call. So when we're purchasing one of our properties, one of our team members decided to call the property manager to see their response time, to see if they're going to pick up. So why was he doing that? He was trying to be sure that when a prospective tenant comes, that somebody will be there to pick up. So you also want to do that. You also want to just test them out and see how they respond to you. If they are very rude, if they are accommodating, and if they will give you the right answers on the phone.
Awesome. Something else that came up was, I think it was more pertinent on the previous slide, was what class of properties do they manage? So
yes,
if you're dealing with a class A and they only have experience with C, or if like us, if you're dealing with student housing and they're just completely, new to that game, it may be a game changer. And then with regards to, funds, there was a little bit of discussion in the chat as to how, you know, there should be a limit put on how much, when you're having that discussion about funds, they shouldn't
Yeah.
have full-fledged untethered access to, you know, your all the funds and be able to just spend it at will without checking in with the owners. So
Yes, so in the contract, when you're reviewing the contract and agreement, so you also want to put a limit on the funds. So for us, our limit is 5,000 on one, and the other is 20,000 on one, and because the deals are different. The reason why it's 20,000 on the other one is because it's heavy items, whereas the other one is just petty items. So it's 5,000. They need anything above 5,000, they need to call us for an approval, except it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, they will go ahead and do it, but they need to communicate it with us immediately as well. Next week, I'll be hosting one of our property managers on student housing. So student housing is one very interesting investment that some of you might be interested in. We're going to bring in a property manager and you're going to ask her any question regarding student housing, and she's going to tell you what you need to know and what you need to do, because student housing and residential are two different types of properties. Just like what Ify said, you also want to know what their specialization is. Someone in student housing might not be able to manage residential. Someone in residential might not be able to manage student housing. Someone in residential might not be able to manage low-income housing. They are two different business plans. So you want to get the specialized property management company for those different classes. So I think the next slide, I've spoken about it, that there are two, for different sizes, you have different property management approach. I just listed them out. You need they are both different in terms of their management fee. They are both different in the way they execute their repairs. They are both different in the way that they handle your funds. So you want to be sure that you're asking the right questions for the one that suits the deal you want to close on.
And for the larger properties that it makes sense to have on-site management, you may want to ask what type of concessions they offer if the person is staying on the property, because that would affect the amount of rent you might be getting.
Okay, please, next slide. So this is a case study of one of my earlier deals. So this is a 35 units in Pennsylvania. The property is stable right now. It's 100% occupied, but it's 35 units. So the property management company that handles this is different from the property management company that is helping us handle a 48-bed, 120 units in the same market. So these ones, they put our funds in a general with order of their customers. So we don't have a special account for ourselves. Whereas the other one, can you show them the other case study?
So
Whereas this other one, we have a different account. The property management company we are using is specialized in student housing and traditional renter. So their specialization is in both. So that's why they are good to manage the bigger one. Whereas the smaller one, they typically handle smaller units. They like to handle smaller units. They don't want to grow bigger than that. How they execute our repairs, they have third-party vendors. We pay them every time a vendor comes on ground, we pay some commission to them. They take some money, 7% of the repair cost. So we know that, and we factor that into our deal. They also take 9% management fee, whereas this one takes 4% management fee. On this property, the bigger one, we have 4 team members on ground. We have the property manager, we have the leasing officer, we have 2 maintenance team. Whereas the other one, we don't have anybody on ground. We just have the property manager. So when there's an issue, the property manager, we go with a specialist to go take care of it, and he gets paid and everybody is happy. So different approach. and different results. So you need to be careful. Like I always tell people, there's no single deal that is alike. They are all different they are all different. So you need to be careful and you need to do the right thing and get the right property manager for your deal. So qualities of an ID property management company, good communication. I don't want to overemphasize the importance of communication in property management. One of the reasons why you need to have this is because, one, without good communication, you will not be able to take the right decision. One. Secondly, the business plan or the idea of the business plan will be lost. So when I'm talking about good communication, I'm not just talking about just on the phone and all that. I'm talking about communication from the beginning. We've seen cases whereby we've communicated to the back end office. So for a bigger property, if you're dealing with a property management company, don't forget you have two parties involved. You have the property management company that they call the corporates. They call them the corporate office. Whereas you have the team on ground who are the payroll team. So if there's a disconnect between you, the asset manager, the payroll, and the back-end office, that's the corporate office, then there's a problem. Most times you find yourself having constant conversation with just the corporate office, and you're not having conversation with the back-end office. Some people are against having a conversation on the back-end office, but for me, based on my experience, I always advise that in your meetings, they need to be there. But when you are discussing some very sensitive matter, you cannot ask them to excuse you. So that's what we do. So you want to ensure that the communication is going around those three people. There's an in-sync. Everything is, everybody is on the same level. Everybody understands the vision. Everybody understands what is going on. At the same time, you don't want to leave one and avoid talking to the other, because if you don't communicate to the team on ground, they would not know why they should even be motivated to do things. Like we just recently communicated to our because we changed our property manager on one of our deals, and we had to tell them the business plan. We had to tell them the goal that we'll be exiting this property in 3 to 4 years. So the plan is for us to increase our net operating income. So what does that mean? How does it translate to the payroll team? They now know that at every point in time, we need to do things that reduce our expenses, put a lot of value on the property. So that is why that communication is important. And besides, they are the ones executing your plan. You cannot have those ones on ground and they don't know what the plan is. You'll just be surprised that the information is lost behind. So you want to be sure that they understand the business plan, they are reminded about it. But when you are talking about very sensitive decision-making conversation, you might need to ask them to excuse you. The reason why you don't want them to be in that place is because they might misinterpret those conversations. So you also want to be very careful on how you involve them in your meetings. And also, okay, the next one is experience. So you want to be sure that your property manager has a bit of an experience. So I'm not looking for 25 years experience, because I've seen people with 40 years experience disappoint me the most. So we are also not looking for someone that has just 1 year experience. We're looking for someone that has a good form of experience and knows the job. So we are looking for that kind of person. With those questions that we've asked, that we just listed out, if you go through those questions, you should be able to sense what kind of experience that they have. You would know if you're asking the right questions. You will know if they even know anything and all that. So the next one is investors' mindset. So you also need to be sure that they have this investors' mindset. Not all of them are conversant with syndication. So let me back up again. Because of what we do, we've interviewed a lot of property management companies, and some of them don't even have an idea of that you bring in investors to come and purchase a property with you and all that. Some of them don't even know that. All they know is a pop and ma just comes, picks up a property and they manage. They don't know that there are other back-end investors. So you need to also be sure that they have the investor's mindset. The reason why they need to have it is because once they do, they know the plan that you need to exit, you need to increase your income, you need to increase your expenses. They will be thinking like you. And company structure, bottleneck, and bureaucracy. You also want to find out if there are a lot of bottlenecks. We had this issue with one of our property management company before we fired them. There was a lot of bottlenecks. If we call them to ask them what is our electrical bill for last month, they will refer us to the electrical team, and that would take maybe another 2 days. We need, if you ask them for answers to different aspects, there's a lot of bureaucracies, a lot of bottlenecks. You don't want to have those things on ground. So you need to ask them, how is your company structure? Who is my point of call? When I have issues, who am I calling? When I need my reports, who am I calling? If I need my accounting report, do you have an accountant I can speak with, or are you the one that is going to manage it? So you want to also understand their structure, because that will influence your decision in hiring them. Professionalism, I cannot overemphasize that. Then leadership, of course, you know what that is. The ability for them to influence. So if they are not behaving like leaders, then you should know that, no. Then patient, but assertive. So you also need a property management company that is in between, that is both patient and very assertive in decision making.
Mm-hmm.
So managing the property manager. So as an asset manager, I know some of us here have not gotten a deal, but the point of this call is that one day we'll get a deal, or one day we'll be a GP, or one day, even if we decide not to be a GP, we'll be investing as a limited partner. You also need to know your role, because the role of a property manager and the role of an asset manager are two different roles. So you need to understand what is your role and how can you manage them in executing their tasks. So your role is not the day-to-day tasks. Your role is not to check on the toilet, is not to do the tenant, get new tenants on the property. That is not your role.
Yeah.
Yes. So your role as an asset manager is to review the weekly and monthly reports. The reason why you are reviewing the weekly and monthly reports, because you want to see if there are any discrepancies. You're also trying to compare what exactly your underwriting, your actual, versus what is what you budgeted, or whatever it is that is in your pro forma. You want to be monitoring it like an up. So you want to, if you decide to do this on a yearly basis, so many things would have gone wrong. So as an asset manager, you need to be reviewing your weekly and your monthly report. You need to also be conducting weekly calls. So for us, when we pick up a property, depending on the issue on the property, the standard is 6 months, but we have a property that is running 8 months, and we are still doing weekly calls because of the sensitivity of the property. So it's not one size fits all. You also want to do this based on your deal. So if the deal is stable in 6 months and everything is going on well, you might need to reschedule the deal from maybe twice a month or monthly. But if the deal is not stable, even after 6 months, there's nothing that says you must stop at 6 months to stop doing weekly calls. No. So you want to check on that. Then visit the property as needed. That is why you need boots on ground. You also want to have somebody on your team that is very close to the property. All of you cannot be very far from the property, because things might be going wrong and you will not know. We've seen cases whereby they tell us the property is doing well, the property is clean and all that, and we take them on a surprise. We've done that like 4 times. We visited our properties by surprise, and all the 4 times we went, we've been disappointed, all of them. So you also want to have somebody on ground that is doing that. Sometimes you inform them, sometimes you just go there unannounced. I like to go there unannounced so that I see things for what they are, how they behave. The last time I went to one of our properties, I went to the leasing office, and the leasing office was like a marketplace. I said I went to use the restroom. I saw utensils. I saw teacups in the toilet. The toilet was not washed for maybe a month. It was so dirty. And that's the leasing office. What if you have visitors or a prospective tenant and they say they want to use your restroom? If they go there, do you think they want to rent with you? You can't manage where you are staying. How do you want to manage their units? That is just the interpretation of that. So you also need someone on ground that will be doing that on a regular basis, both announced and unannounced. Develop balanced supervisory style and approach. Yes, you also don't want to micromanage them. And at the same time, you also don't want to take your hands off. You want to, at the beginning, it's important that you micromanage them, you put your eye on it. But later, when things are becoming stable, you also don't want to take your hands off. But at the same time, you also want to be in between. You are, if it's like, let's say before I used to call maybe once a month and once a week, you might want to reduce that to once every other week, you know. So you're gradually allowing them become responsible, but at the same time, you're still monitoring them. Review KPIs, metrics, and goals. So we are going to discuss KPIs in our future Zoom call. So you want to review these KPIs with them and be sure that it meets your goal. So these are very important things as an asset manager that you should be doing, not for you to be washing toilets. What are the warning signs that shows that it's time for you to change your property manager? When you have when they are consistently not meeting their KPIs, that is one. So what does that mean? They are not meeting their targets, and it's not as if they're putting in a lot of effort. It's not as if it's as a result of the market. It's just as a result of them not doing their job. That's a sign that you might need to let them go, because one of the things you want to do on that property is to increase your income. If they are not on top of that, then you need to let them go. Inexperience, incompetency, and ignorance. So after they've told you all the stories during your interview that they're the best in town and all that, and you get to recruit them, and you find out that they are very, very incompetent and they are inexperienced, that is a sign for you to let them go. The lack of incomplete reporting. Their reporting is always wrong. There's a property manager, not the management company, the manager on ground. She was always giving us wrong reports, very wrong. And as an asset manager, for the fact they're giving me reports, I still go to the software to compare. I also don't want to take everything from them as they say it. I also want to verify. So before the meeting or weekly reports, I go online. I mean, not online, go to the software, because in the software, you can pull reports. I go there and look at all the parameters and come to the meeting. So I'm listening to them, and when they're saying something wrong, I already know, and I start to challenge it. So you also want to do that. You want to go before that meeting as an asset manager, you to do your own work. You don't just want to leave them to just be doing things as they want. So when you see a sign of them continuously giving you wrong reports or incomplete reports, that's a sign that they need to go, because if they're giving you a wrong report, then your decision-making will be very poor. You want to avoid that. Then lack of owner's mindset. When they are doing like, whether or not I work, you guys are going to pay me my salary, then that's a sign for them to go. When you're unreliable, you can't just trust them to do their job or do the right thing, then you need to let them go. We've changed property management companies recently. We've changed the property management company. We've also changed the payroll team. So there's nothing wrong with you doing it, but as much as possible, if you do your job on earlier on by getting the right property management company at the beginning, then you will limit changing them. But that does not mean that you did not do your job well. Maybe you did everything well, but on the job, these people cannot perform. Then you also need to let them go on time. I think that's the last slide.
Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah. So
I didn't put any questions in the chat.
Okay. So to wrap up, property management company is the most important aspect of the deal. You get this right, at least your deal is 80% going to do well, do fine. Because don't forget, they're helping you with your underwriting. They are going to help you with your due diligence. They're also going to help you with the management. If they've gone through all those processes with you, I don't know why your deal should fail. I really don't know why. So I think I will end it here and ask anybody, if you have any questions, please let us know. Sorry, I'm not in the best mood today too. You know, sometimes you're not in the mood to train or to talk. I'm just not feeling myself today. So pardon me if you did not really understand anything I was saying, but yep.
Nick gave us the 5. Oh, okay. Oh, hold on 1 second, Nick. I was about to actually say you give us the 5 Ps, which is, oh heavens, where is it now? Okay. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Exactly.
All right. Hold on, let me pull up the thing again. Was it this one, Nick? And now I can't see you, so I'm hoping it was this one. Let me see if you. Okay, I'm thinking it was this one, Nick. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions, nuggets they want to
Yeah,
share?
that was the right one.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we have budding asset managers in the making. And I do want to put this up there as well, that we're also in the market for deals.
Thank
We
you.
are in Pennsylvania, Texas. We're expanding to the Midwest areas, and essentially wherever we can establish a team, a reliable team. We target Class B and C's. I know we have a Class A. That was a needle in a haystack deal. So if we find another one, of course, we'll take it. 50 to 200 units is our sweet spot, and we buy via JV or syndication. That's how we partner with people. Cool.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, as far as property management goes, are you guys worried about the potential that we might end up in a market where rents go down or stay stagnant instead of going up for a few years?
Thank you for asking that question. I've been aggressively underwriting. So I typically underwrite 2 or 3 deals a day. So I tend to look at the trends. So we are seeing some markets, not all markets. I'm in Dallas market, and in Dallas we have different counties. So if we take a look at an overview of all the counties, some of them are growing, the rents are not coming down, whereas the Dallas itself is coming down. So we are seeing rents that are going down as low as $100 or $150 from the previous month. So for September last year, we saw some rents cooling off in Dallas. So this is part of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of inventories coming out in Dallas, because these properties are not cash flowing. So to answer your questions, yes, what is local? Real estate, multifamily is local. What is happening in my market might not be happening in your market. So you also want to find out what is happening in your market, and not just in your market, in the smaller parts of your market. Yes, sub-market. You also need to find out, because, okay, for example, the Fort Worth market and the Dallas market, they're just side by side. I'm seeing that the Dallas market is cooling off, but the Fort Worth market is thriving. Also, I am seeing that the Arlington market and the Denton market. The Denton market is pulling off in some areas, and the Arlington market in some areas is thriving. So it's local. You can't take one decision for one and apply it to the other. That is why we said a property manager will help you determine that, because they are in different markets, especially if they are very efficient or they have a good type of portfolio or they're experienced in that market. They'll be able to justify what is happening in different sub-markets. don't do this, don't go here. This market is bad. This market, yes, is growing. You can do that. So they're very, very important. I don't even know how you can do a deal without them. I can't just phantom it. Can't, as in, I cannot. You know, even as much as I understand the market, I still ask them for their opinion
Oh,
because
definitely.
things change pretty fast. Like we went on that deal, under contract for a deal in 2022, December. Come February, that deal has changed, as in drastically. The rent has cooled up. There was no way we're going to achieve that rent any longer at all, within 2 to 3 months. So, but they are constantly the good ones, not the bad ones. The good ones are constantly monitoring the market. So you need them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Thank you.
I saw that today, and how that helps you in your underwriting, because you see a broker giving you a deal and telling you that, oh, it's for your rent projection will be for 5%, 6%. But if you check your T12, so another thing you want to do is when you're checking your T12, you see some variation. So sometimes it's going smoothly. That means it's bumping up, rents are going up. But there are some months you see lower. So you need to concentrate on those months. We've seen that happen several times. And you need to ask those questions. Why did your rent go up, go down? And again, you need to ask them, and were there concessions involved? So if their rent is going down, that means they're giving out concessions as well.
Right.
Most times they give out concessions. Yeah. So,
Exactly. Just a bump occupancy.
correct.
Awesome, awesome. All right. I think it's fair to say that we can call it a day or an evening. Depending on where you are. We have a lot of Californians in the house today.
Oh, really?
So,
I hope you
yeah.
guys are not buying in California.
No,
Sorry.
they're not buying it. We're in other I can't remember which other markets, but other markets he
Okay.
indicated.
Yeah. I have some properties in California, and my renter did not pay me rent since June last year. I was not able to evict that tenant until January. So for 7 months, I didn't collect rent. So no, I wouldn't advise you to do that.
You got off easy. They could have stayed there a lot longer.
They actually they messed up my house. They ran it down. Everything was gone. In short, a brand new house. Let me call it brand new, because we did about 50,000 watt renovation on that property, and we were supposed to sell it, but we couldn't, so we had to put a renter, and they messed it up. So you also want to be careful. California, no.
Good to live in, but
Yeah.
not for business.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Well, we will close out now. And we hope to see you next week. Well, come next. Well, so
Isn't next week? No.
no. Not next week chronologically. Right? Remember, when I say next week, I mean next time. So there's no Zoom next week, and then the following week is Memorial Day, and so that would have been an asset management Zoom. We will not have any Zoom then. So we'll see you next time. And we'll definitely let you guys know. Oh yeah, Christian's talking in the chat about where his markets are. We'll definitely let you guys know when the next one is. All right.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
please.
We appreciate all your valuable insight.
Yeah,
Thank
please join my Facebook group. We give educational information. We also give trending information, and we play games as well. So like and join my Facebook group. It's in my link tree. You'll see all the links to my I don't know if it was put in the chat.
I was gonna say, where you guys link trees put in here?
Hold on a second.
Please hold on. Let me see. So it's Linktree / Bibi Ofiri, I guess. Let me see. If you do have it there.
Yeah, I'm copying it. Hold on.
So it is. Yeah, so that's it. So you see my Facebook, Instagram, we always put in information. You don't have to also always be, if you're in this meeting, we always talk about it outside these meetings as well. And when I go to visit sites, I always tell you, give you good and new information, what's going on in the market as well. So thank you all and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you guys do the same.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Hold on one second. I think I'm trying to share my sound. There we go.